next session on operations research. In this session, we will discuss the concept of inventory control problem. An inventory control problem involves managing inventory levels to meet demand while minimizing cost related to holding, ordering, and shortages. So, when we are talking about the inventory control problem, the main thing that we need to do is to manage the inventory levels such that if there is a sudden demand from the customer, we are able to provide it. Also, we are able to minimize the cost which is related to holding. That is, we do not store extra inventory in the warehouses. And suppose if there is no demand from the customer, it will just be lying over there. Same thing applies for the raw materials. If you buy excess and keep in the warehouses without using it, it will add to the holding charges. Then comes ordering charges. That is, if you order a large quantity of raw materials at a time, the ordering cost will be less. If you order in small batches again and again, you are going to incur more charges for ordering. And there comes shortage. If there is sudden shortage of material, then you will have to suddenly give order to the suppliers who will charge you more because you are giving less duration for the supplier to complete his supply work. It is a critical area of operations management and supply chain optimization, aiming to balance the cost of ordering inventory with the cost of carrying inventory as well as any penalties associated with stockouts. So, this is a critical area because of operations management and supply chain optimization both, because it is aiming to balance the cost of ordering inventory, that is how much charges are involved in ordering inventory, that is again you order in batches or you're ordering in bulk, and also with the cost of carrying inventory. When you have ordered inventory, you also need to pay for the charges of transportation. So if you are ordering a lot of it together, your transportation charges will be less. But if you are ordering in small batches, then you'll have to pay for the transportation charges again and again for the same distance. Also, there will be some penalties which are associated with stockouts. That is when you are running out of stock, because the customers may just leave your company and they may switch on to the products from other companies. Here's a general overview of the inventory control problem. Key elements of inventory control. The first is demand forecasting. Estimating future demand is vital. Demand can be deterministic, known in advance, or stochastic, uncertain and based on probabilities. So these are the two types of demands in operations research. One is deterministic, when you know how much to order in advance, and there's something called as stochastic, that is when you don't know what will be the demand. So it is an uncertainty and it is based on probabilities. So you just make a guess that okay, we are going to sell these many number of products in this quarter. Demand variability greatly impacts the inventory policy. So whatever inventory policy you make, it will all depend on the demand variability that is there in the market. The next one is order quantity. It is indicated with Q, deciding how much inventory to order at a time. Common models include economic order quantity. It is called as EOQ model. It minimizes the total cost by balancing ordering and holding cost. So the EOQ model helps you to minimize the total cost by balancing the ordering and the holding cost. That is, if you order a lot and you keep it at a time, it will at least reduce the transportation charges. But if you order a lot, then the holding charges will increase. So you should order in an optimized way such that you bring in materials, hold a little bit of buffer, but do not order so much so that you have to pay for holding cost. Fixed order quantity models orders a fixed amount whenever inventory falls below a certain level reorder point. So in this kind of a model, there is a concept of reorder point. So it is a point where if your inventory reaches below a particular value, you will place an order. Variable order quantity models orders varying amounts depending on forecasted demand or time periods. So this is a type of model where you will be ordering various amounts, and this will depend on what is your forecasted demand and what is the time period in which you're going to order, because here you will have products which may be sold in a variation based on season or maybe some kind of festival. So this is called as variable order quantity models. The third one is reorder point ROP, the inventory level at which a new order should be placed to replenish stock before it runs out. The ROP is influenced by lead time and demand rate. For uncertain demand, stock safety is often added to the ROP to prevent stockouts. So ROP is a very important concept, and this reorder point in any company is very important because when your stock reaches a particular value, you should be placing your order. Automatically it should go. So this is actually influenced by two things. One is called as lead time, that is the time between placing an order and receiving an order by the customer. Now here you can also be the customer, say you are the owner of the company and you have placed an order to the supplier. So you are the supplier's customer. So also the lead time is very important, and demand rate. So if the amount of products required in the market is more, then accordingly you will have to decide when to place the order such that you do not run out of raw materials. For uncertain demand, the safety stock is also added, that is called as buffer, so that you do not run out of stock, that is called as a stock out situation. Safety stock, extra inventory helps to prevent stockouts due to demand or lead time variability. The amount of safety stock is a function of service level, probability of not stocking out, and demand variability. Safety stock is nothing but buffer which you save such that if suddenly there is a situation where you run out of raw materials, you can bring the materials from the inventory and you can use it for time being, such that you get a little bit of time, to place the order and get more materials from the supplier. Lead time, the time it takes from placing an order to receiving it, as I told you. Long or variable lead times require more safety stock as replenishment may not arrive before inventory runs low. So suppose if you have certain products which have longer lead time, then you should always keep them in buffer, because even if you run out of it and you place an order, the supplier may take longer to replenish the stock in your inventory. Inventory costs. First is holding cost. Cost of storing and maintaining inventory such as warehousing, insurance and opportunity cost. So all these things are a part of holding cost. Ordering cost, cost associated with placing an order, including administrative expenses and transportation. So if you have administrative expenses like paying of bills, electricity bills, water bills or maintenance bills of the area, you can have the salary of the staff who is working for you or expenses related to them. So these are all administrative expenses, and transportation is one big expense of ordering cost because you have to bring the material repeatedly to your place. Shortage cost, cost related to not having enough inventory to meet demand, potentially leading to lost sales, back orders or customer dissatisfaction. So shortage cost is something which you have to pay for when you suddenly run out of material and you are not able to satisfy your customer. Customer may leave your company. This is called as loss of brand loyalty, and then you may also lose potential customers who could have been your customers, based on the ones who are already satisfied. So if they are dissatisfied, then how do you expect more customers? So these are shortage cost. Now we'll talk about some common inventory control models. The first is EOQ model. This model aims to find the optimal order quantity that minimizes the total cost of inventory, assuming constant demand and no stockouts. This is very important because you need to understand what is EOQ model. It is going to minimize your total cost of inventory, and here you have to assume that there is constant demand and no stock out. No stock out means you're not running out of material, so you don't have to place orders again and again. Also, if you have constant demand, it is very easy to solve because you know that after a particular period of time you will have to produce, say, certain number of products and give it into the market. Because if there is fluctuating demands or sudden surge in demand, it is very difficult to handle such situations. The UQ formula is Q star is a symbol which is used is equal to root of 2 ds upon h, where Q star is the optimal order quantity, D is the annual demand, S is the ordering cost per order, and H is the holding cost per unit per year. So these are the meaning of these terms. You can use this formula in case if you want to find out what is the optimal order quantity and you know these terms, you can solve and get the answer. The next one is QR model. This continuous review model orders a fixed quantity Q when the inventory level hits the reorder point R. So if your inventory has reached a point where you need to place an order, it will be placing an order and bringing in materials continuously. So it is going to order a fixed quantity, that is Q. It's useful for products with steady demand but requires monitoring. So you have to just keep monitoring your demand and you can use this model very easily. The next one is SS model, a periodic review model that orders inventory up to level S whenever the inventory falls below a certain threshold small s. So when you have this threshold value as small s reached, you are going to place an inventory which will take your inventory up to the level capital S. It's ideal for variable demand and is reviewed at regular intervals. So this is the model which you use for variable demand in the market. The fourth one is news vendor model used for single period inventory problems where items have a limited selling period. Example, newspapers, perishable goods. The model aims to balance overstock and understock costs based on demand distribution. I have already explained you this in the previous lectures. News vendor model is something based on the newspaper distribution which happens on a day-to-day basis. The news vendor is going to bring in those number of newspapers which will be sold. If he brings more newspapers, it will just lie with him in stock and he will have to throw it away. And he has to bear the cost of extra newspapers. The reason is no one takes today's newspaper tomorrow. Everyone would read today's newspaper today itself. So if you are not able to sell, you'll have to keep it with you and bear the charges. Just-in-time inventory, a strategy that minimizes holding costs by ordering items as close as possible to the time of need. JIT relies on precise forecasting and reliable suppliers. So just in time is a Japanese philosophy where you are going to bring in order as and when it is required in the right quantity at the right place at the right time. You will not bring extra inventory and store and add to holding charges, nor will you bring less material such that you're going into a stock out situation. We will be discussing just in time inventory in a detailed manner in the upcoming session. Practical considerations, demand variability. Predicting fluctuations in demand is challenging, especially in dynamic markets. Supplier reliability. Reliable suppliers reduce the need for large safety stocks. Suppose if you have suppliers who are very reliable, then you don't have to keep too much of stock with you. As and when you place the order, they will send you the material, so your inventory charges are going to reduce. Demand variability is where you do not know what will be the demand next. So if there is no proper prediction of this demand, then you will have to take care of the inventory accordingly and keep some buffer stock with you. This is called as a dynamic market where you will have to look at the market and accordingly decide what will be your demand and sale. Service levels. Companies must decide on an acceptable level of stockouts, balancing inventory costs and customer satisfaction. So company also has to decide what is the acceptable level of stock out. So if you do not know how much of stock out you can afford, then it will again cost you in terms of inventory, and customer will not be satisfied and they will leave you. So you need to balance level of stock out, inventory cost and customer satisfaction. Technological integration, inventory management software and tools like ERP systems and automated replenishment can optimize inventory levels in real time. So you can make use of softwares like the ERP system. There is a software called as SAP, which is used in companies, SAP, which is used for managing the inventory in the company. So you know how much raw material is there with you, what is the situation of the shop floor, that is how much of finished goods are there, how much of material is in process, when what is the lead time, how when do you have to order, what is the reorder point. All these things can be maintained in that software. ERP stands for enterprise resource planning. So SAP is actually a part of ERP. Solving inventory control problems, various optimization techniques can be used, including linear programming, dynamic programming, and simulation. We have already discussed about all three of them. You can go through the videos and you will understand the meaning of it. The choice of model depends on demand patterns, lead times, and cost structures unique to the specific inventory scenario. So, whatever model you have to use, it will depend upon what is the scenario. That is, if you have constant demand, you should go for EOQ model. If you have variable demands, then you should go for SS model. So, accordingly, you should decide on the model that you have to use. So, with this, I end the session. I hope you have understood the concept of inventory control problem. If you have any doubts, please write to me in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon for latest video updates. See you in the next session. Thank you.